Hey, animal chiropractic friends. I'm Dr. Amy Hayek, president and co-founder of Animal Chiropractic Education Source, and I am joined today by Rob Mueller. Rob is the founder of BARF World, raw food diets for dogs. He has been in the nutrition world for over 40 years, doing raw food nutrition for all species, zoo animals, and everything. BARF has even recently came out with a recipe for felines, which is always a great thing because cats are really difficult to feed appropriately. And he's here. He is a registered licensed pharmacist, and all of his work has gone into feeding and educating professionals like you and I about the benefits of raw food. Thanks for joining me today, Rob.
Thank you for having me, Amy.
Well,
I'm excited to try to spread the philosophy that we have to your coming attendees.
awesome. We've been really excited about having you guys. And for those people who have already registered, they've already seen the benefits of your book, Living Enzymes, and been able to download it and read through it. Tell me a little bit about the BARF company compress about 40 years worth of stuff into a couple sentences.
I can do it in a couple sentences, but I can shorten it up to say that I've been in this game a long time. We started BARF World in 2000, so we're 20 years down the road with this.
Okay.
I got in business with a lady that became a customer of mine in California. She left her dog with a distributor that I had in Oregon. And she left for about 6 weeks on a trip. And she had left the dog in very dire digestive situation with this distributor. And of course, my distributor, who has been prominently feeding my diet, decided to feed her dog my diet. And when she returned from her trip, she was amazed that in a 6-week period of time, it was a completely different dog.
Mm-hmm.
She said, who's the guy that did this? And she said, it's just absolutely amazing. Anyway, long story short, she got on an airplane within a week and flew to Wisconsin, walked in my office one day and said, you and I are going to be partners.
Wow.
That was 20 years ago, and we became partners. We've run a very successful business for 20 years. Since then, she's decided to retire.
Mm-hmm.
I've had the opportunity to take the business over completely and made a few major changes to the business and how we were doing it. Have decided to change our distribution channels. We've made decisions to really operate the business by elimination of the middleman and can directly supply product to the ultimate consumer. And that's what we've been successful at doing. We've become one of the most successful online distribution dog food channels in the country.
Awesome.
So that's the short story of how we got started, and we're sticking to it.
Awesome. So you were prepared for this whole stay-at-home order stuff online way before this ever started.
Pretty good. It was a pretty good decision that we made back when, because now we're set up to handle it. We were able to survive the COVID-19 experience and stay in as a necessary business, and it has really been quite successful. People are ordering online for their animals. They sit in home placing their orders, and that's
awesome.
been good.
Well, and more and more, the animal shelters are kind of empty because people are, adopting dogs right and left. So
exactly right.
The dog food business goes up. So tell us a little bit about why raw food is best for these animals.
We get asked this every day. Why is raw better than kibble? No doubt about it. We feel tremendously that the raw diet has definite and significant advantages over feeding kibble. And I think the way to sell this product, and basically this is what we've had to combat for over 50 years, right? 50 years. I've been doing it almost 50 years.
Yeah.
But what we found that for the last 20 years that we've been trying to sell it online is everybody asks, well, why is there an advantage to raw over kibble? The advantage is primarily, and you'll see this from our book, as you've indicated that people can download. And by the way, we are revising this book, and I don't know if it'll be done before you have your conference, but certainly we can be provided after the fact.
Uh-huh.
But in our book, we explain some of the reasons why BARF does become, or why raw is definitely an advantage. The real reason is that we're believing that feeding raw is the way that Mother Nature really designed the dog to eat. And that's pure, simple, easy philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
We know that from feeding ourselves, that if we eat right in the way we're supposed to eat,
Mm-hmm.
we end up feeling and having a lot better, long living life than eating at McDonald's every day. That's just kind of the easy the analogy that I make. If you go to McDonald's every day, you can expect to see in the end that you're going to gain a lot of weight from the high carbohydrate intake from the food. Well, that's what we get from eating kibble. You know, it's a high level of carbohydrates. It's inundated with different toxins, with pesticides and herbicides and stuff that we don't get in the raw diet. And in a real short statement, raw provides a benefit by providing the animal an ingredient that is considerably higher nutritional value.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the kibble diets are all composed primarily of corn. It's genetically modified corn, and you know, most of the diets with that content of carbohydrates are going to cause problems long term. And where we'll see that, and I'm sure we'll cover it a little bit later, is how long it takes for these problems to develop. And we'll cover what some of these problems are.
Okay.
If you want to, but we feel that primarily in a nutshell, the kibble-based diets are a lower grade, usually corn ingredient-based diet. And you're just going to show the visible signs, not over the next 30 days, but over a year, 2-year, 3-year period.
Lifetime. So,
and where we really see it, Dr. Amy, is about that 4-year point.
okay.
I can tell you at 4 to 5 years, I can tell you what kind of problems that dog's got. And I even deal with customers on the phone when they call. I say, I bet I can tell you how old your dog is because you're telling me what kind of problems you have.
That's amazing.
And I know how long it takes for the teeth to start going bad. I know how long it takes for the weight problems and the digestive issues to happen. The
Mm-hmm.
kidney issues, the diabetes. I mean, it goes on. And your vet clinics and doctor clinics are full of problems that these people are having. And I bet if they took a study on how long it takes for that dog to develop these conditions, it's right around at that 4-year point.
Mm-hmm. Amazing.
I've been doing it for, like I said, 40 years, and I know I've been watching it very careful as to how long that takes. It's amazing.
That is awesome. And sounds to me like the next case study that we need to put out there. Don't tell Dr. O, because he'll be working with you to write that one.
We were talking yesterday, as a matter of fact. It's interesting that you said that. But we're considering doing some case studies in regards to comparison of the nutrient utilization of
Yes.
the diet, comparing kibble-based diets and raw food diets. And if we can get into doing a comparison of the utilization of that diet, which is quite obvious to us as we see a 30% reduction in stool volume.
Yeah.
See the better utilization of the raw food diets in the body.
Mhm.
And I want to come up with a study that shows it completely automatic for somebody to look at it and see where there's a tremendous advantage in the nutrient and the nutrient utilization that you get from
Awesome.
the diet.
So can you name, let's say, 3 things that specifically the raw food diet does for those animals? What are some real specific things that the pet owners can see?
It's interesting you ask that question because we've developed a sales approach, to be honest with you. We want people to engage in a 90-day program.
Mhm.
Let us have your dog totally, let us show you exactly how to feed that dog for the next 90 days.
Mhm.
And I'm going to show you a completely different dog. What you're asking me is, well, what are the visible differences that you're going to see? What is this customer going to see after 90 days?
Mhm.
Um, Pretty easy things to see, and ones that you probably wouldn't know as something to look at, but look at their teeth in 90 days.
Aha.
Look
Yeah.
at their the teeth the teeth and the eyes are obvious signs of what that dog's condition is, as I'm sure you're aware of.
Mhm.
Uh, in 90 days, you'll see a reduction of the tartar on the teeth.
Mhm.
You'll see a difference in how the dog attacks its food, which is kind of
Oh,
really
yeah.
fun.
That's pretty obvious in most dogs, yes.
It disappears so fast that it never touches the teeth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Basically,
At least at our house, that's the way it is.
yeah. The real visible difference that you're going to see is about a 30% reduction in stool volume, which is interesting because trying to clean up after a dog that's been fed kibble and compared to the raw diet is all that you've really got left in the raw diet is some ash and fiber
Mhm.
and so it's pretty easy to pick up is basically what I'm saying. So the
Yeah.
pickup capabilities and the reduction of the amount that you have to pick up is quite obvious. And in
Mhm.
a bigger dog, I guess you see it even better because they leave quite a lot in the backyard that should be left in the body. Okay.
Yes, definitely. I can attest to that because we see that quite often. Our own dogs all are on BARF and their stool is always pretty compact. But when dogs come in to stay with us because they have illnesses or injuries that we're fixing, usually they have to transit. We always feed them BARF while they're here, and they do that transition. And man, is it stinky and
Yeah.
soft and
Yeah.
it's just nasty. Versus like our dogs, you just go pick it up with a Kleenex and throw it away.
Exactly. So that's very noticeable in the first 30 days. Obviously you'll see it in the first week.
Sure.
There's a tremendous difference. But even after our 90-day trial, to take a look at that dog and look at the hair coat and condition of that dog at the end of 90 days. And here's where we're coming from on our 90-day challenge. We know that if we challenge that customer to let us take the feeding regimen on that dog over the next 90 days, we know we have a customer. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
We see what happens over 90 days. I would say a good 90% of those people will continue to buy it and they see the major difference.
Uh-huh.
So I think body condition, hair coat, teeth, reduction of stool volume, that's 3 or 4 really good reasons why you can see an advantage over feeding kibble.
That's great. How can animal chiropractors help their patients to make that transition? How can they help to convince the owner? Because if you're feeding raw, it doesn't sit on a shelf for years and stay, in good shape. It's not like you can just throw it in the back of the car and carry it with you. How
Right.
can they help those animal owners to make a better choice for their animal foods?
This is a question that I've been wrestling with for 30 years. Uh, what's a fast, easy sales approach to really convince somebody to feed raw?
Mhm.
Okay. I think I got pretty good at making a suggestion for our chiropractic friends, animal chiropractic friends. You don't have time and you're not being paid to sit in there and try to sell a person on a raw diet,
That's true.
right? You
Mhm.
want to have it fast, simple. Thing is, people don't come to the clinic unless they've got a problem with their dog,
Right,
right?
right.
So it's very simple. They're paying you a significant amount of money to get your advice. So
Mhm.
it's very simple to say, and maybe it's a suggestion of taking either my book or any other author that has written on principles of raw feeding and suggest that that client takes this simple reading home to get the real background for my suggestion.
Uh-huh.
Okay. I see
Yeah,
your has A, B, C, and D problems. There's a good way around that. And one way is if I was to have you come to my office with a health condition that you were paying me for yourself, I'd expect that you'd take my recommendation. And that's all I'm asking you to do.
mhm.
Take this book, read it. If you've got any questions, I've got ways that you can support to go in and read about raw feeding. Uh, but here's what I suggest. And very quickly, here's some differences that it'll make for your dog. And you can outline these 3 or 4 things that I just said.
Sure.
In about a 3-minute presentation, you can really convince this customer that raw feeding is a better way to go for your dog. And if you want to go with BARF World, which I strongly recommend, by the way,
Yes, we do too.
then you would call our office because our trained people in our office, they're trained nutrition specialists to answer any questions that you have in regards to feeding this way. They'll talk to you about the feeding amounts. They'll talk to you about what it's going to do for your dog and what problems it can work for and how it's going to help you. And
Awesome.
that's that whole suggestion is better than spending 15 minutes or a half hour trying to convince the people to feed raw because that doesn't really work.
I agree. It's
Okay.
much easier to just say, here, feed this, call these people. They're great customer
You,
support.
if you will, if you will use the code that I'm able to give you, there's some advantages for using my code also, which I'm sure Dr. Amy will explain to you when you come to the class.
Yes. So having an affiliate code does a lot of things. And a couple things I'll tell you about now is it lets you see personally that those people are following your directions. You get to see how much food they're buying, if they're feeding an appropriate amount, so that when they come back for repeat exams, you can say, oh, but I know you're not feeding enough of this food to actually adequately feed that dog. So what else are you feeding it? And that's sometimes why they still have those issues. So it definitely gives you a little background information, kind of the insider information on that animal that you're treating. So it's a really nice way to keep track of them.
Yep,
Awesome. All right. So Basecamp attendees will get an affiliate code. Is that what you're telling us?
exactly.
Awesome. Those affiliate codes are pretty special. And affiliate codes, like I said, when you recommend the food to those owners, the affiliate code gives you insider information about those pets, how much they're eating, exactly what they're eating, so that you can better monitor what they're doing. And, oh, there was just something else I was going to say about that.
Another thing I also tell you about the affiliate code is if you line your clinics up with the affiliate program, I can pretty well assure you that we can pay your rent.
There you go. And the other thing about it, the other really important thing is you don't ever have to touch the dog food because BARF is so well set up to directly connect with those end consumers. So
And
that,
train, don't forget that. We will train those customers for you.
Exactly.
Okay, our office is going to handle all the learning capabilities, handle all the problems with it, and pay you for not even having to be involved with it, other than recommending it.
That's awesome. That is a huge, that's a great offer, I think, to be
You don't have to
affiliated with.
clinic either. You don't even have to show it there, other than maybe a sample. You just
Sure.
make and show them what you're recommending, but we deliver it right to their door. We make it simple and easy.
Awesome. And, you know, we definitely recommend that everybody uses the BARF diet. We recommend it to all of our clients and to our animal chiropractic students. And we tell them if they don't have an affiliate code yet, they can use 1557, which helps them get a discount, and it helps us keep track of whether they're using that food or not. So I am so glad we got a chance to meet today. Is there anything else that you think, any magic nugget that these animal chiropractors will need to know about the BARF diet in particular that will help them to help their patients become healthier and happier? And because obviously the happier those patients are, the more frequently they help those doctors see more patients, right?
Yep. My magic recommendation is, after almost 40 years of doing this, the diet works. And that's what it's all about. I can assure you that you got a product that's going to be better nutrition from any kibble that you're going to give that dog. And if you get those dogs on it, it'll be a turnaround 90-day challenge for your office to show them better health for your animals.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for joining me. If they want to get a hold of you or BARF, how can they contact you?
Just contact our office at 866-282-2273. You
And
could ask
go ahead.
Monica, Carol, or Katie. Those are the three assistants that we have here.
All right. And what's the website if they want to read more about it?
BARFworld.com.
All right. So barfworld.com or 1-800, what's the acronym that goes with the web phone number?
Biologically appropriate raw food.
So isn't it 1-800 BARF World? Is that the phone number? I don't remember.
Is that the phone number, Monica? No, it's 866-282-2273.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks so much for taking the time out to help our animal chiropractors learn a little bit, but also to let them know that attending Basecamp is going to give them another way to help their patients stay healthy and well.
Thank you as well, Dr. Amy. Appreciate it.